everyone, this is Elena, and I'm back today with easy technique how to do masking using with MISTI. And I had finally chance to edit this right in time for Halloween because I'm using a Halloween stamp set from Reverse Confetti to Cute to Spook along with Fright Nights pattern 6x6 stack. So I'm starting with my mini MISTI, and I'm positioning that piece of cardstock, and then I'm just gonna layer my stamps how I want them to be positioned onto my card. And then first I'm putting the one that it's the cat, which will be in the background, and in front of the cat I want to do the broom and a pumpkin. So first I'm doing the cat, and then the broom and the pumpkin on top of the cat, so that positions it I'm able to level it up and position the pumpkin and the broom where I want to be in comparison to the cat. So because the cat is in the background, when I close the door of the MISTI will pick up just the stamps that are on top, and that's the broom and pumpkin. So then I'll remove, because it's they're out of polymer, the cat kind of stuck onto the pumpkin and the broom, so I just remove the cat, and then I just picked up the little bat. So next, because I'm using the MISTI, usually when I stamp with the MISTI I do mass production, and this is like perfect for very easy masking and mass producing cards. So I'm stamping several. I think I did 7, and I'm using the Hero Arts Intense Black ink pad, which is compatible with alcohol-based markers, and I'll be using Copic markers because I really want it like dark black color. I'm stamping twice all the images. And again, because I'm using the MISTI, that cardstock doesn't move. I'm using Nina White 80-pound cardstock, so I'm able to perfectly position it where I want to be and stamp it again without getting some blurry images or stamped images. So I'm kind of speeding this one up, and I think this is the last one. And next I'm using some Inka Dinka Do masking paper, and I'm stamping those images onto it. Next I'll cut those out and position the cat where I want it to be, along with the Happy Halloween sentiment. So I'm just gonna trim those very closely to the edge, so when I stamp the cat I don't have little gaps that appear between the pumpkin and the cat or the broom. So I'm going very closely to the line, even like trimming a little bit off that black line, so I have nice impressions when I stamp that cat on top. So, and I'll be using the grid transparency. The grid transparency is available, the grid is available for download on my Sweet Petunia website, and then I just use some transparencies to print it home. If you're buying your own transparencies, make sure that you buy compatible with the printer you have, whether it's inkjet or laser printer. So I have both of them, so for me it doesn't really matter, I just need to print with the correct one. So next I'm positioning that Happy Halloween sentiment, and I'm using some imaging paper. It's same, not imaging paper, imaging sheet from an old Stampamagic as well. Like you're able to buy those. I think they're used for quilting or something like that. I'm not completely sure, but I have like 8 by 8.5 by 11 sheets, and I just cut them to size. So I was able to stamp on that and see where that sentiment would go. so I'm able to move it up or down if I want to. So next, you notice that I already did one, so I'm positioning that masking paper on top of the pumpkin and the broom, and I'm just stamping. And here, like, I kind of smeared some ink onto my cardstock, so I'm using some sand eraser. It's Tombow sand eraser to remove that ink. So, and then I'm over stamping it again to get that deep black color. So I'm repeating the same process for every single one. So you can notice that I get very nice masking effect. So I just decided here I wanted the sentiment to go a little bit lower. So I'm repositioning it again. And again, positioning the masking paper and over the pumpkin and the broom, and then I'll stamp again. You notice that kind of smear the ink pad onto the door of the MISTI, but it's very easy to clean up. You can use either the Novus cleaner, or I use, when it's the ink is fresh, I just use baby wipe to wipe my stamp, and when I'm cleaning the stamp, I just clean the door of the MISTI. So I think this is the last one. So I'm stamping that one again twice to get that deep color. So now we're done, and I'm cleaning my MISTI using the Novus cleaner, and then to remove scratches with the second step of the Novus cleaner. As well, the second step is very good for removing ink stains. It removes even the stains from the most stubborn ink. So next I'll be coloring only one of the images. So I'm just coloring the pumpkin. I'm not really doing a perfect job, but I'm just using 3 to 4 colors to get that nice shading effect. I'm just going fast with that so it's nicely covered. So I'll let you watch me coloring. I'll try to post the colors, which Copic markers I used. You can use any kind of markers, or even if you want to do with a watercolor, then you can use StazOn or VersaFine ink and stamp on some hot press or even cold press watercolor paper, and you can color with any watercoloring medium you have. You can use any watercolor based markers uh, like the Zig markers or the Stampin' Up markers or the Winsor & Newton markers or any other tube or pen watercolors. So I'm done with the pumpkin. Just adding a little bit darker shadows there. And then I'll color the stem of the pumpkin with some green. Just add a little bit of shadow there. So we have that, and next I'll be coloring the cat. I'm using again orange, but a little bit different orange than the pumpkin. So a little bit different colors, so I get some distinction between the pumpkin and the cat. The cat is more mustardy, orange yellow, and the pumpkin is more like kind of pumpkin orange. So just adding a little bit more shadows, and then I'll do the tail, and then the head. So I'm kind of starting with the darker color and going around the edges, and I'm doing kind of the flicking motion because the video is sped up, you may not be able to notice, but it's kind of flicking motion. I don't want to bore you watching 40 minutes of coloring. So I'm going from the darkest to the lightest shade. So this is my lightest one, and I'm going all over and kind of blending everything in. So next I'll do the belly and the little stripes of the cat. I'm using darker colors for that, darker orange. And then for the nose, I'll be using black. And actually shade of like darker cool gray. So that's done. So next I'll be coloring I forgot to color the little hands and the ears of the cat. So I'm just coloring those in. So next I'll color the broom. I completely forgot about the broom. So, and now the little nose. I'm using black and darker cool grays like C9 and C7. And I'm doing the same for the little bat. So, and then I'm kind of going with the C9 and then the C7 and kind of trying to blend everything in. So when I colored the bat, I noticed that the eyes kind of got blended in because it's dark. So at the end, I'll be using some Nuva drops to add the eyes and the nose of the cat. So I forgot to color the top of the broom, so I just did that. And next I'm kind of grounding the cat, the pumpkin, and the broom using some warm gray markers. So I'm using W3, W2, and W1, I believe. And then some blender pen to kind of fade out the ends. So now that we have that, I'm using the Fright Night. I cut 2 strips from the Fright Night pattern paper from reverse confetti. And I'm gonna be adhering the strips on the top. And then kind of trim the ends under an angle like banner. They look like banners. And then adhere them on top of each other. So I'm just using black and purple. And then trim the excess. And next I'm using some black twine, baker twine from Stampin' Up! To add a little bit more interest to my card. So I'm tying that bow there, and then I'll just trim the ends of the twine. Next I'm using some foam. I trimmed it a little bit smaller than my panel, and then because I have that bakery twine, I decided to trim like one strip for the top, and then the bottom goes so I don't need to adhere it over the twine. Next I'm just scoring my card base. I'm using top folding card base black, and then I'll just adhere. And here my Tombow Extreme adhesive ran out, so I had to change the cartridge. So adhere that there, and next I'm just adding the Nuva drops for the eyes, the black ones for the eyes of the cat and the bat. And then I went first with the glossy accents for the nose, and then I decided to wipe that off and add the clear Nuva drops because it adds a little bit more dimension when it dries. And then to add the last element, I just used the Wink of Stella Clear to color over the pumpkin and the ears of the cat. Next I'm using the blender pen to remove a little bit of the marker. So that's it. Hope you like it, and see you soon. Bye!